Welcome to my podcast. The topic today is the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000. How Jesus' provision goes beyond the physical, pointing to the deeper truth of God's care for His people. We'll start reading here in John, and it says here in chapter 6, 1-15, After this, Jesus went to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or Tiberias. A large crowd was following him because they saw the signs, the attesting miracles, which he was performing on those who were sick. And Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. Now the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was near. So when Jesus looked up and saw the large crowd was coming to him, he said to Philip, "Where will we buy bread so that these people may eat?" But he was saying this to test him, for he knew what he was going to do. Philip replied, "Well, 200 denarii, which is a small fortune worth of bread, is not enough for them, for every one of them will receive only a little." One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "Well, there's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they for so many people?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was plenty of grass in that place. So the men sat down, about 5,000 in number. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to those who were seated, likewise also of the fish as much as they wanted. When they had eaten their fill, he said to his disciples, "Gather up the leftover fragments, so that nothing will be lost." So they gathered them up, and they filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves, which were left over by those who had eaten. When the people saw the sign, attesting miracle, which he had performed, they said, "This is truly the prophet who has come into the world." So Jesus, knowing that they were intending to come and take him by force to make him king, withdrew again to the mountain by himself alone. The miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 is a significant event in the ministry of Jesus, illustrating both his divine provision and his care for the people. This miracle is the only one mentioned in all 4 Gospels, showing its importance in Jesus' earthly ministry. The setting is crucial. Jesus was on the east side of the Sea of Galilee, and a large crowd had followed him. Their interest was not purely spiritual. Many came seeking more miracles, especially for physical healing. But Jesus uses this opportunity to reveal a deeper truth about God's provision. In this passage, we see Jesus not only meeting a physical need, but also teaching a profound spiritual lesson. When Jesus asks Philip where they could buy bread to feed the crowd, he does not ask for information, but to test Philip's faith. Philip, practical and pragmatic, sees the task as impossible. Even if they had a large sum of money, it wouldn't be enough to feed everyone. Andrew, on the other hand, points out a small boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. But he too is skeptical, wondering what such a small offering could accomplish for such a large crowd. Jesus, however, in this context, shows that with God, even the smallest offering is enough. He takes the loaves, gives thanks, and begins to distribute. Miraculously, the food multiplies, and everyone eats their fill. 12 baskets of leftovers are gathered, showing that not only did God provide enough, but He provided abundantly. The overflow points to the generosity of God's provision in both physical and spiritual matters. The crowd, amazed by the sign, starts to see Jesus as the prophet, but they misunderstood his mission. They wanted to make him king, but Jesus withdrew, knowing that his kingship would not be established through earthly power. This miracle foreshadows Jesus' deeper teaching about the bread of life that he would soon present to the people. Just as God provided manna to the Israelites in the wilderness, Jesus provides himself as a true bread from heaven, sustaining not only for today but for eternity. The miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 points forward to the ultimate provision Jesus would offer through his death and resurrection, offering spiritual sustenance to all who believe. The miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 is a profound reminder that God does not just meet our needs in the moment, but provides abundantly. Yet as with the crowd, our view of His provision can be clouded by our desire for earthly satisfaction, rather than recognizing His ultimate provision for our souls. So the takeaway. Well, the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 reveals that God is a provider, meeting both our physical and also our spiritual needs. Jesus demonstrates that even the smallest offerings, when placed in His hands, can lead to abundant blessings. This story encourages us to trust in God's ability to provide, even when the circumstances seem impossible. It also points to the deeper truth that Jesus is the bread of life, the only one who can satisfy the deepest hunger of our hearts.